Good morning, U.S. history students. Happy Tuesday. Today we'll continue with Unit 4, World War I, and specifically we will finish up 5.1, America Enters the War. So yesterday we talked about the global causes of World War I, along with the technological innovations that led to a much deadlier war. Today we're going to look at U.S. neutrality, President Wilson's viewpoints on the war as a whole, as well as the U.S. causes to get into World War I. So let's get started. So the United States remains neutral. What we found in our melting pot nation was that the new immigrants to our country were supporting their home countries. So if we had immigrants from Germany, they were on the Central Powers side. That was kind of who they were supporting because the United States wasn't involved yet. If we had immigrants from France or from Russia, they were in support of the Allies. So those new immigrants were supporting their home countries. President Wilson at the time was urging Americans to remain neutral. We talked in Unit 3, Imperialism, about President Wilson's moral diplomacy. He wanted to do everything he could to prevent going to war. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. So there evolved some divided opinions at home. And we can look at those divided opinions in three main groups. The first group were isolationists. Isolationists did not want to get involved in the war. They wanted to focus on what was going on in the United States, domestic issues, our home country issues, and they did not want to get involved in the war, whether it was humanitarian reasons, economic reasons. They did not want to get involved in the war. Then there were interventionalists. Interventionalists wanted to go to war. All right, they wanted to go to war, get involved, send U.S. soldiers over to help the Allies, intervene. I have that highlighted there, to intervene and go into war. Then there were the internationalists. Internationalists were somewhere in the middle of isolationists and interventionalists. So internationalists wanted to play an active role. Internationalists wanted the United States to send money and supplies to the Allies, but not go to war directly. Okay, so isolationists, stay at home, don't get involved. Interventionalists, go to war, send U.S. troops. And internationalists were that in between, play an active role, send money, send supplies to the Allies, but do not directly go to war. All right, and deeper, more detailed descriptions about those three groups can be found on page 219 in your textbook. All right, we'll keep going here. American neutrality. All right, so there were three main causes that the United States eventually enters World War I. The first one, the Zimmermann Telegram. Okay, that was a proposed alliance between Mexico and Germany. So this telegram was intercepted by the British and given to the United States. And the telegram said it was from Germany to Mexico saying, hey, listen, if you support us, we will help you invade the southern United States and claim back that land that is rightfully yours. Told Mexico, we're going to help you get New Mexico and other areas of the United States. So that telegram was from Germany going to Mexico, intercepted by the British and given to the United States. Obviously, the United States was not very fond of the idea of Mexico and Germany becoming an alliance, okay? Because then Germany could enter into the United States from Mexico. Number two, the sinking of the Lusitania. The Lusitania held citizens. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second, but unrestricted U-boat attacks on non-battleships. So the Lusitania was not a battleship. All right. The Sussex Pledge said no more U-boat attacks on unarmed vessels. A U-boat was a German submarine. Okay, German submarine, and they did a lot of damage with those U-boats. On page 221, There's a map showing ships sunk by U-boats from 1917 to 1918. And there were over 11 million tons of Allied shipping and 14,000 people that died from these U-boats. All right, so the sinking of the Lusitania was kind of the last straw for the U.S. because there were 1,100 casualties on board, and many of whom were Americans. Number three, the third reason we entered the war was protector of democracy. All right, Wilson's moral diplomacy wants to make the world a safer place and promote democracy, okay, around the world. The United States prides themselves on democracy and wanted to spread that throughout the world, okay, and protect that democracy. There's a great video link there from history.com. Feel free to take a look at it. All right, we have one slide left. So the U.S. is no longer neutral, okay? President Wilson famously said to Congress in 1917, April 2nd to be exact, the world must be made safe for democracy. Its peace must be planted upon the tested foundations of political liberty. We are but one of the champions of the rights of mankind. We shall be satisfied when those rights have been made as secure as the faith and the freedom of nations can make them. All right, so on April 2nd, 1917, President Wilson asks Congress to declare war on Germany, and therefore the United States becomes active and enters World War I. So that's it for today. I hope you have a great rest of your evening.